The next item we are going to talk about is communicating in Tyler 360. We want to communicate with our students and our parents, largely through email, and we want to have a log in order to log those communications and all of the contacts we have made with parents. So let's talk about mass emails first. Maybe you just want to email an entire class's worth of students and or parents, or maybe all of the students and parents from all of your classes if you have particular information to share. If you are going to share a large amount of information with a large amount of folks, you want to click Mass Email. The first thing you'll be prompted to do is to select the classes by clicking these boxes on the left-hand side. So click on the boxes of the classes you want to send an email to, and then click the next button. I'm going to click all of my science classes and let them all know that they have an assignment coming up. Once I click on that next button, I'm going to get some choices. Who all is this email going to go to? Do I want it to go to my students? I always click BCC. That means blind carbon copy, which means everyone will think there's an email just for them and they don't know any of the other recipients. And to me, that is the safest way to go. So I'm going to blind carbon copy all of my students, all of their household parents, and their non-resident parents. That means if they have a parent that maybe lives outside of the district, they could be a student whose parent works in the district but does not live within the district. Or it could be maybe the student has two homes and one parent resides in district and the other parent out of district. I would not click where it says include all even if did not request mailings. If a parent does not want to receive communication, then do not trouble them with receiving that communication. That should be reserved for the principals. So once you've all decided who's going to send the email, then you're going to go ahead and click next. You're going to enter a subject. You can click to create a communication log entry as well. So if you want that to be automatically added to the communication log, that means when the emails are sent and you need to look up a student's communication history, that email will already be in there. And it's just a way to keep track of when you've touched base with students and parents. You're going to enter in whatever the subject of the email is. So I'm going to put upcoming test. And then you're going to insert the body of your text as always and click send emails. Shortly after you click send emails, it usually takes about 5 minutes or so, you will receive a copy of that email which you sent in your own inbox, so you will be able to see what it looked like when it went out. So that is a way to communicate with everyone as a whole. In this next scenario, let's pretend that you want to send an email to a group of students and a fairly large group of students and or parents, but not all the students and parents. Let's go back to that mass email function again. Let's say that there was something that happened in class and you needed to share information with maybe a handful of students from the same class. So I'm going to say students from my second hour class, I need to send an email to some students and to some parents. So I'm going to click just my second hour class and click next. Instead of sending a class view email, now I'm going to send a student view email. This gives me a checklist of students that I can decide for who is going to be emailed this information. And is it going to be students, parents, and non-resident parents for all of these different students? Right now, the entire class is checked. I'm going to uncheck the entire class and just scroll through and pick the students individually who need this message. Then I would click next and continue on as before and add in the body of my email and be able to select things that way. There is also another way you can communicate with students and or parents if I want to maybe see just an individual student or parent. In this case, I'm going to go back to my main screen and click the Send Email button. Under the Send Email button, I can conduct a student search. In this case, I've typed in the last name Smith. When I click the correct student whose last name is Smith, that student's information will pop up in the next screen, and I can decide who all receives this email. Am I just going to send this email to the student? Am I going to send it to all the teachers? Or am I going to send this email to the teachers and the parents of this particular student. So you can decide, is the email going to be to the parent, but you're going to carbon copy on the student? Or is it going to go to both parties, the parent and the student, or just to the parents? So you can see that you have some choices in which to communicate. So there are some ways that you can send emails. Speaking of sending emails, make sure you always click that box that says put in communication log. However, we don't always just communicate through emails. We can also talk to someone in person, or we can make a phone call. Click the communication log to log a new communication. The first thing you will see is the log that is already put in place. You can see that there are some emails, mass emails. You can see that there's a telephone conversation. If I want to add to this log, I'm going to click Add Entry. And of course, my first thing that's going to pop up is my student search. I'm going to type in the last name, Brown, and then select the correct student whose last name is Brown. It's going to let me use my current date and current time if this is when it was made. If not, you can always change the date and time. And you're going to decide the type of communication. Did you send an email just by typing into your Google Mail? Was a letter sent home? Did you send home a note with the student? Did you talk to the parent in person? Or did you make a telephone call? Who was the person you contacted? Was it an administrator, an aunt, a grandparent? Who did you all talk to in regards to this student? And what was the result? Were you having a conference? Is this the first time you've had a contact? Second time? So you can make some of those decisions and make some additional notes, and then you can save your changes. So those are some ways that you can use Tyler 360 in order to communicate: a mass email, an individual email, or even something in between.